Hello friends, how's it going? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Gabby and today I'm going to be starting on a romance reading vlog. Figured, because it's around Valentine's Day, I thought it would be the perfect time to, read some romance. I feel like I've been getting really back into my romance era. Romance is still definitely one of my top most read genres, but I feel like lately I've been gravitating a lot more towards like the horror and thriller things over the last 2 years, but I'm really starting to get back into like my need for like wanting to read a lot more romance, and so I'm so excited to be reading some new release romance books today that I'm so excited about. However, before we do jump into the vlog, I wanted to say a huge thank you to Ana Luisa for sponsoring today's video. And how fitting, because it is the season of love with Valentine's Day right around the corner, and I think Ana Luisa, their jewelry, would make the perfect gift for Valentine's Day and all year long. The best thing is that their jewelry is at a very affordable price. There are no luxury markups on their jewelry, and the great thing about Ana Luisa is that they do not sacrifice the planet to have high quality pieces. They make it easy for you to shine without tarnishing the planet. And I also think it's really nice because all of their pieces come in this very cute, very small packaging. I've actually never seen such small packaging for jewelry before, and I just think it makes it really nice and really simplistic. And because it is the season of love, with Valentine's Day right now, I do think that jewelry is the perfect gift for someone you love, or like me, if you want to show yourself some self-love this season, which I also think is just as important and valid, then I think you should get yourself some jewelry for this season. I love that their jewelry really stands the test of time and is something that can uplift you every single day. And I'm so excited to share with you the 3 pieces that I selected this time because this jewelry is absolutely stunning. This first necklace here is this one that just has this beautiful little like flower and leaf and mushroom on it. It's a necklace and it's just absolutely beautiful. I saw that they have this kind of style of necklace with a few other designs on it, and honestly, I'm tempted to get them all because I adore this necklace. And then I also got this necklace that I'm wearing, which is a Scorpio necklace. It has a little scorpion on it, and it's so freaking cute. And no, I'm actually not a Scorpio, I'm a Capricorn, but did that stop me from getting this necklace? No. I also ended up getting this ring that I'm wearing, which is just this little ring that has this like black square background, and then it has this little star on it. And I'm just kind of obsessed with how simplistic this looks. I'm a huge fan of Ana Luisa's rings. I mean, I'm sure you've seen them in every single video. Every ring that I own has come from Ana Luisa. Like, I'm a huge ring person. I wear them all the time. I wear them every single day. There's rarely a time where you will see my fingers without Ana Luisa's rings on them. I also love their necklaces like this one here because they make me feel just a slight bit more glamorous without having to try too hard. So yeah, definitely be sure to go and use that link in my description to check out Ana Luisa, and right now you can use my code gabbyreads20 to get 20% off your order, which is really incredible. They have some really great sales right now going on over on Ana Luisa's website, so definitely be sure to check it out, and thank you so much once again to Ana Luisa for sponsoring today's video. Alright, so what are the books that I'm going to be reading for this romance reading vlog? I'm going to be starting with The Reunion by Kayla Olson. This one is a recently published romance that's about these 2 actors. They were on this TV show when they were much younger. I assume around like teenager age, like I don't really know, but they were on this show when they were younger and they always had this like romantic spark between them. And now this story is taking place 20 years after the premiere of the TV show, and the show is going to be having like a reunion of sorts, and then these 2 are trying to see if there's still some kind of spark, like something between them. I'm also going to be reading X's and O's, which I know technically, I guess this is the second book in a series. I have not read the first book, but I've been hearing some really great things about X's and O's. This one actually follows a girl who's like a romance novel obsessed girly. I think she has a Bookstagram or like a TikTok related book account, which I think will make her super freaking relatable for me. But this is a story about her and her romance with this guy who's a firefighter. Like, say less, it sounds amazing. I can't wait to read this one. I'm also going to be reading Before I Let Go by Kennedy Ryan, which this is a romance that I've just heard such great things about. I've been a little bit nervous to read it because I know that this one's kind of like a second chance romance. It's about these 2 characters who, they used to be married and they have kids together. This is a story about how it's been a little while since their divorce and they're starting to possibly catch feelings for each other again, and I've just heard absolutely non-stop incredible things about this one, so I'm really excited to read this one. And then lastly, I'm also going to be reading Sorry Bro, which this one is a female-female romance, and the protagonist of this is an Armenian American woman, and it's about how she's coming to terms with her sexuality in this romantic comedy. And so really excited for all of these books that I'm going to be reading in this video. As I said, I'm going to be starting with The Reunion, so let me send you back about a week ago. Hello, how's it going? I'm reading romance, so I thought I would update you because I feel like I haven't been doing a great job so far because I have been reading some romances. Like, I have finished The Reunion. I actually listened to this on audio in about like 2 sittings the other day. I was just kind of like chilling and like making thumbnails and doing stuff all day, and I was able to listen to most of this all within one day. To be honest, this one ended up being a 2-star for me. I didn't really enjoy it as much as I wanted to, which sucks because this is a romance that's about these 2 actors who, like, they used to be kind of like, they had this thing for each other when they were starring on this show, and now the show's having a reunion like years and years and years later, and they're coming back to the reunion, and there's this kind of like weird tension between them, and you don't really know at the start of this book like what exactly happened in their relationship. And I feel like I had the same issues with this book that I always have with like second chance romance books, and that's, you know, I felt like I wasn't really like in the know of their relationship. Like, I kind of wanted to know what had happened between them a lot earlier. You know, like, it takes so long for us to find out like what actually happened between them, and I just didn't really feel the chemistry between these characters very much. Like, as much as I did love, you know, following like the behind the scenes of like this show having a reunion and all of the fans like getting excited about it, you know, we do get a lot of like moments where we read, you know, different like tweets or like interviews of like people getting excited for like the show to come back. Like, I loved the whole idea of that aspect of the book, but I don't know, like, these characters just didn't really do much for me. I found myself kind of like skimming towards the end. Like, I just didn't care that much, and so that's kind of a bummer. And then I also just finished buddy reading this sci-fi romance with my friend Brittany, and the book was called Twice in a Lifetime. This book was really interesting because it's kind of like a sci-fi romance. Like, the premise almost reminds me of one of my favorite mangas, Orange, because the premise of this book is that we're following this woman who, you know, one day she receives this text from a guy who's claiming to be her husband, and she like doesn't know who he is, and then he sends her a picture of their wedding day, and then she's like, what the heck, like, how is this possible? And you start to find out that he's, you know, like, texting her through time, basically. Like, he's texting her from the future, essentially, and, you know, he wants to change something that happened in their present day, and he's trying to figure out a way to do that. So it definitely reminds me of Orange, you know, because it has, like, those same kind of vibes, and this book was so freaking incredible. I think the main character in this book was so freaking relatable with her discussions about, like, her anxiety and her depression. There's definitely a lot of talk about suicide in this book as well, so if that's a trigger warning for you, just be warned that there is quite a bit of discussion about suicide in this book. But it was so beautiful. Like, the relationship between these 2 main characters was so freaking cute. I also love the fact, and I didn't know before I read this book, that the love interest in this book, he's actually Korean, and there's so much discussion about, like, his, you know, Korean family and, like, his travels to Korea, and like, there was just so much great moments with that in this book. I was not expecting him to be Korean. This book was just so beautiful. Like, I don't know how I feel about the ending. I feel like overall I'm probably gonna give this one 4 stars, but this book was so freaking good. These characters had such great chemistry. I feel like I wanted more of like the time travel aspects of this book to be explained a little bit more, but also this book has some of the cutest side characters I've ever read in my freaking life. Like, I really hope this author does consider, because this is this author's like first debut book, I hope this author considers writing another book with the perspectives of Tae and Junsu, because oh my god, they are so fucking cute. I would immediately read an entire story just about those 2 side characters. But anyways, now I wanted to update you because I am starting on the next book that I would like to read, which is X's and O's by Amy Lee. This book, it's about this girl who's like a romance novel obsessed girly. Like, she has a book talk and a bookstagram account. Like, okay, relatable already. And I love right at the beginning of this book, we get this super cute Taylor Swift moment when it says, got a long list of ex-lovers, they'll tell you I'm insane. Like, what? We get a blank space moment, like, right at the start, and I've heard that this book has so many Taylor Swift references. I've only read the first 2 chapters, and so far there's been a few Taylor Swift references, and it's making my heart happy. I also just feel like the audiobook narrator is doing a great job of like bringing this character to life so far. Like I really like her personality. She's very witty, she's very charming, very funny. This seems like it's gonna be a roommates to lovers situation, because she's getting this roommate because she can't afford, like, you know, her ex just recently dumped her, and this is like the 10th guy that's like broken her heart, and so she's gonna be moving in with this guy that's like a friend of her friends or whatever. I think it's like so that she can like save money, and this guy that's her roommate is a firefighter and they live in Boston, and I'm just already like starting to get all the feels for them. Like they've only had like 1 or 2 interactions so far, but I'm like, oh my god. So I'm already loving this. I'm doing some reading sprints right now with my friend Jordan, and so I'm just going to be, you know, laying in bed for a bit here reading through this book, and I'm really enjoying it, and I will update you when I have more thoughts.
We've said our goodbyes, but we won't go home just yet. You've got your head down, just like when we first met. I can't believe it's ending. Why did we fuck it up? So stupid and upsetting. How can I give you up?
Hey, hello. It has been a little while. It's about 2 o'clock in the afternoon now, and I just finished up doing the reading sprints with Jordan. And then ever since reading sprints ended, I've just kind of been listening to this audiobook while like taking some, you know, book photos in my room and just like doing some other things. And I got up to page 216, so I feel like I am just flying through this book. I am loving these characters. I'm loving their chemistry, and this is like such a slow burn, and it's roommates to lovers, which is like my favorite trope. I feel like I didn't really do a good job of explaining like what this book is actually about, but like we're following this girl. Like she does have, you know, a book talk and a bookstagram as mentioned, and she's a pretty big Taylor Swift fan, which is really cool. But what ends up happening is that after she moves in with this guy, she decides to make a list of like all of her exes, and then she's going to try and like redate her exes to see if like there's some kind of spark there. And I love the idea of this, even though it's so tough for her, you know, because some of her exes are like really awful, you know, like they're total like gaslighting douchebags, and for her to have to go on dates with them again, it's like she's trying to see if anything has changed with them or if they've like grown up in any way, you know, because some of these guys like she hasn't dated since like high school or college, and I'm pretty sure she's like well into her 30s now. But it's just so cute, you know, because her roommate Trevor, he's like trying to help her be more, you know, dateable, and like be, you know, he's trying to like help her with certain aspects of dating that she feels like she's really bad at. And it's so cute because her roommate Trevor, he's a firefighter and he works in Boston, and he's just so freaking cute. He's like one of those characters that's like a total, you know, he seems like a bad boy on the outside, and he's like very slow to open up, and he seems like very short with her in the beginning, but he's slowly really starting to open up to her, and he has so many like layers to his personality, and he's just so sweet. And so I'm really loving their romance. I love their chemistry. Like they're just so freaking cute. And so far it's been absolutely delightful reading this book. According to the audiobook, I'm 60% of the way through. I do think this audiobook is also worth checking out because the audiobook is really fun. I really like the way that this woman is narrating the character. And something that I would have liked is that, you know, in this book, we don't ever get Trevor's point of view. We only get her point of view, which I almost wish that at some point we could get Trevor's point of view, just because I do want to know what's going on in his head. But at the same time, it does kind of make Trevor a more mysterious character as we only follow from her point of view. So I don't know, I just really like it. I'm really enjoying it a lot. Right now, I think I'm going to go and head to the gym. It just feels like I need to go to the gym today, you know, and it's getting really like rainy and windy outside. It looks like it's gonna storm, and so I thought maybe like now would be a good time to go to the gym.
Goodbyes, but we won't go home just yet.
I'm dead.
Let's stay here in this moment, pretend that we're not broken, and kiss me like you used to do before it all went down. Cause when the moon is falling, our love will turn to nothing. So kiss me like you used to do before it all went down. Give me this one night, hold me one last time, kiss me like you used to do before it all went down. Give me your love now, before it runs out, kiss me like you used to do before it all went down. It wasn't easy.
Oh my god, here, take, you're gonna fall on the fucking couch. Look at this cutie. Okay, hello. What's going on? It's like 10 o'clock at night now, and I've had a really great night. I was able to go to the gym, and I am already so sore from going to the gym. Like, I'm not even gonna lie, I'm already in so much pain. And then we made this really good, like, P.F. Chang's, you know, Asian food tonight. We tried these egg rolls from P.F. Chang's. Dude, they were so good. They freaking slapped. But I did want to update you because I just finished listening to X's and O's on audio, and this was so cute. I think I'm gonna end up giving this one like a 4.5 out of 5. I don't think it was like a perfect 5-star for me. At least I just had some little like nitpicky things towards the very end of the book that I was kind of like, okay. I wasn't the biggest fan of, you know, the conflict, because I feel like there's always, you know, in every romance book ever, there's always a point where there's some kind of conflict at the end, you know, some kind of reason why they can't be together yet. And I just wasn't the biggest fan of how that was played out in this book. I thought it was like a little bit cheese. And then I also thought the epilogue was just a tad cheese for me. I also really loved this protagonist in this book, you know, I mean, she was pretty relatable with the whole, like, you know, having a book influencer account type of thing. Like, I could definitely relate to her on that. And I also love the discussion in this book about how men will just call women crazy just because they're, you know, sensitive and like emotional to certain things, and like how men will just throw that word around all the time, or just say she's clingy or she's crazy, and just use words like that to describe something when she's not actually being crazy. She's just being like a normal sensitive person and reacting to things. And I also just really I did adore the love interest in this book, Trevor. I thought he was great. I love, you know, his type of male character that, you know, comes off really harsh at first and you don't really understand him, but it takes some time for him to like peel back the layers, you know, it takes some time to get to know him and realize like how soft of a person he really is on the inside. And I also love the roommates to lovers trope, you know, it's definitely like one of my top favorite romance tropes, and I feel like this book did a great job with that. I love too how like in between the chapters we would get like snippets of her kind of, I think it was like her TikTok or something, right, where she's like talking to her audience and kind of like talking about things, and the way that like the audience, like her audience, the way that they were rooting for them to get together in the end, I thought that was so cute and so funny. I don't know, it was just so adorable. I love how like self-aware this book was too, because, you know, this is a protagonist who's obsessed with romance novels. So I love how we would get those comments from her, you know, being like, why can't the couple just get together? Like, why does there have to be this kind of conflict? And then the other characters are like, because then there wouldn't be a romance novel. And like the way that it's like self-aware that it's a romance novel is just really great. Like, it was really funny. Also, the Taylor Swift references were on point. Like, she referenced Taylor Swift a few times throughout this. I especially loved when she said she was like listening to All Too Well, and she was like, the 10-minute version, of course. And I was like, oh, Amy Lee knows. Amy Lee knows. So yeah, this was really cute. This was a 4.5 out of 5 stars. I really enjoyed it, and I can't wait to start the next thing. Good morning. I wanted to update you because I have started on Before I Let Go by Kennedy Ryan, and this is a romance that I've heard nothing but good things about. Like, this romance is averaging like a 4.5 out of 5 on Goodreads, which is very high and very impressive. And I've never read anything from Kennedy Ryan before, so this is my first experience with this author. And I'm not gonna lie, I was kind of like nervous jumping into this one because this is a second chance romance, which I don't know, I feel like second chance romance books are one of those genres that's very like, it's hit or miss for me with like the romance trope, because I feel like I enjoy seeing like the early stages of the relationship and like seeing the couple get together as opposed to like reading them about getting back together. I don't know why, I just find it so difficult to get invested in the couple when I don't see like the early stages of the relationship. But something that I think is really great about the beginning of this book is that the first chapter is told from the guy's perspective, Josiah's perspective, and the first chapter is just called The Beginning, and we kind of get to see the moment where he like really fell in love with her as opposed to just like being infatuated with her. And I thought that opening chapter was like so freaking sweet and so well written, so I feel like I'm already starting to get invested in this couple. But this story is taking place in like the present day now, where, you know, they're divorced, they have these 2 kids, and like you're just kind of trying to figure out what went wrong in their marriage and like what's going on. And now he's starting to see somebody new, and she's getting kind of, you know, jealous in a way. And I don't know, I'm already feeling like really invested in the characters because Kennedy Ryan's writing in this is really good. It just like brings you in right away and makes you feel all of the things. And even though second chance romances aren't my favorite kind of romances, I'm already feeling a lot of chemistry between these two, which is a good sign for me because I feel like so often I won't feel that chemistry when it's like a second chance romance because I'll be like, oh, the sparks already died, you know, essentially. But I really do feel like the chemistry between these two characters, and so I'm really curious to see where it goes. I got all the way up to chapter 5, so I'm only about 60 pages in, but I'm planning on reading a little bit more this afternoon. I'm getting ready to, in about 30 minutes, I'm going to be doing a live show with my friend Jessie to discuss this book, All the White Spaces, and then a little bit later this afternoon the Grammys are on, so I think I'm going to be watching the Grammys with my sister, but hopefully I'll be able to get some reading in, you know, in between watching the Grammys and reading. Also, random side note, but this book made me so fucking happy. On page 45 it like mentioned BTS and I was like, bitch, what? Because she said, I think she was talking about her daughter here, and she says, I'm not even sure Deja has heard this old R&B classic before, but she takes to it like it's BTS's latest hit. And I was like, bitch! So that made me automatically very happy. I was like, this is the first book I've ever read that mentions BTS, and my heart just like soared out of my chest. So like, it's going great so far. It's going very well. Inception. Yes, so excited. Big sad, not surprised though. Good morning. It is the next morning, but I did want to update you because last night I did get quite a ways of the way through this book. I'm 150 pages in, which puts me at about 41% of the way through the audiobook. We watched the Grammys last night, and then we also made dinner. We made like frozen pizzas out of the fucking freezer, but it was so good. But you know, the Grammys last night, I mean, they were a little bit disappointing. I mean, I'm mainly just salty because my faves, BTS and Taylor Swift, both lost their categories. But I was also really happy to see Lizzo win, and you know, it was kind of a bummer to see Beyonce lose Album of the Year because I feel like Beyonce's just been so deserving of Album of the Year, and it just makes me mad that the Grammys just keep not giving it to her. I'm like, what is going on? But anyways, I did get 40% of the way through. I was mostly just listening to this audiobook like in the afternoon yesterday while I was getting some stuff done, and then also like during the red carpet I was still listening to the audiobook because I don't really care that much about the red carpet. Like, that's definitely more of like what my sister watches it for. You know, like we're so opposite. Like, she watches it for the fashion and for the red carpet, and then I just watch it for the music because like I could care less about what they're wearing. I just want to hear the music, you know? But so far, this is still really good. It's really freaking sad. And I feel like, I don't know why I wasn't expecting this book to be as sad as it is. I was trying to look to read the description to see if the description kind of gives away, you know, what really caused their marriage to end. And I don't think it does. Like, I think it is kind of spoilery to discuss like what actually ended their marriage, and this whole topic was something that I was not expecting to be discussed in this book, so it's a little bit more like hard-hitting than I thought it would be. Like, I don't know why, I should have expected this to be sad, but this is a topic that's just, you know, it's obviously very hard to read about. If you're sensitive to any kind of trigger warnings, I would definitely check trigger warnings for this book if you're nervous about that, because wow, this is heavy. But I also really do appreciate the discussion about, you know, mental health in this book and therapy, you know, because there's a lot of scenes, you know, where they're talking about how there's this weird relationship that some men have with therapy. Sorry, Tank's just like opening the door. But I appreciate the discussion of that in this book, and how this dad is really, you know, trying to set an example for his son in showing that like men can go to therapy and like that's fine. Because I feel like sometimes there's such a stigma, like, oh my god, you're not man enough to handle your shit, or like whatever the fuck society wants to say. I really appreciate appreciate seeing, you know, a man who's comfortable with going to therapy and talking about his problems and being more like open about his mental health. And I think that's so important to see. So I really do love all of the discussion about mental health in this book, and I think it's really strong. I'm also just really connecting with these characters, and I'm feeling that chemistry between them and that longing. I feel like so often when I read, you know, this kind of trope where it's like they were together before and now they're not, it's really hard for me to get invested in the relationships usually, but I don't know, so far that's really not the case with this one. Like, so far I do really feel invested. I like that we're getting flashback chapters that kind of show you moments from their past that are really important to understand why these characters are the way they are now, you know? And so, I don't know, I'm really enjoying this. I have a few just like tedious kind of tasks that I have to get done today, like updating Excel spreads and, you know, scheduling things and making thumbnails and things like that. So like, I'm just gonna continue listening to this on audio this whole afternoon. Hopefully, I mean, I'm hoping I can get this book finished today. That is my goal. So let's do it.
If you keep this up, then I'll let you in, 'cause you have a way with me like no one else. Yeah, you almost make me fall in love. Yeah, you got me hypnotized under your spell. I know I'll go home with you tonight. Oh, wanna get you closer to my body, wanna feel your hands all over.
Okay, hello. It's almost 5 o'clock at night, but I wanted to update you because I just finished reading before I let go. And I've had a very productive afternoon. Like, I'm very happy with all the progress that I've made today. I got so much work done on my laptop that I've been needing to get done, and then I went to the library to pick up some holds. I went to the pharmacy, and I also straightened my hair. I repainted my nails. Like, I was doing so much while listening to this audiobook, and that's the main reason why I love being able to use audiobooks to help me read, because I feel like I can be productive while reading at the same time. It's just the best. And this was absolutely incredible. I feel like I just have to give this book 5 stars just because of how much I loved these characters and the situations. It was very heavy and very beautiful, but I also just think it was so real, you know, and it was so well written. I love that at the very end of this book, this author includes a bunch of like discussion questions, but then also like recipes like that were actually in the book. So there's like a bunch of different recipes at the back of the book, which I just think it's so cool when authors include like extra little things like that and just go the extra mile. I also think, you know, it was pretty great because there was another moment towards the end of the book where the character mentioned BTS again. Like, they mentioned that their daughter was wearing like a BTS onesie, and I was like, their daughter is the coolest bitch on this planet. I feel like the story just proves why I still pick up romance books that are in tropes that I don't usually enjoy, like second chance romances, because you never know. Every now and then you find a winner like this one. You know, it definitely reminded me a lot of the Bromance Book Club in that way, that I enjoyed a second chance romance because I felt such great chemistry between the leads. But also, I just appreciate the way that mental health was discussed in this book and the way that depression and grief were discussed in this book. I just thought it was really powerful, you know, and really beautiful. We also did get some romance tropes in this book that I do really love, like the one bed trope. Oh my god, there were some really great scenes with that happening. And I also kind of love the trope of like, I don't know what it's called, but it's when it's like, nobody can do it for me like you can. Like, you're the only one who can make me feel like this. I don't know if that's like a specific trope or if that's just like, you know, general romance, but I love like that. This one had major energy of like, there's nobody else who can make you feel as good as I do. And it was just beautiful. It reminds me of like that Taylor Swift lyric when it's like, you taught me colors, you know, I can't see with anyone else. You painted all my nights, a color I've searched for since but wondering. Yeah, so anyways, it was just really good. It was really good. I can't not give this 5 stars because it was just so good. It was so well written, so beautiful, had amazing characters, amazing chemistry. Like, this checked all my boxes for everything that I look for when it comes to romance books. So that's exciting. Beautiful. Hello, what's up? It's the next day. Welcome to my bathroom. I thought I would like change the scenery. I know it looks like I never leave my house, but I swear I've had a really productive day. I actually just got home from the gym and from grocery shopping and doing all the things, but I wanted to let you know that I have started on the next book that I wanted to read for this video, which is Sorry Bro. This one is a female-female romance, and I think, you know, something that's interesting about this one is that our main character is this Armenian woman, and it's so interesting because so far in her life, she's only dated men, even though she feels like she's attracted to women. And so there's this, you know, awkward thing where like she doesn't really know how to go about the situation because her family, it's not like they're like homophobic, but it's just very uncommon to see people in the LGBT community in Armenian culture. And she talks about a lot how, you know, she doesn't know anyone who's Armenian that's gay, and it's just really hard for her to try to figure things out. And so right at the beginning of this book, it starts with this scene where like this guy proposes to her that's like her boyfriend, and she turns him down, and the family's kind of like wondering like why she would do it, even though they didn't really like him, so like they're not that mad about it. But there was like a weird part that I just heard while I was driving. The main character says, "As far as my family knows, I'm as straight as Taylor Swift." And I was like, okay, that's bold of you to assume that Taylor Swift is straight. Clearly this author has not heard Ivy by Taylor Swift. Like, you don't listen to Ivy by Taylor Swift and then still think that Taylor Swift is straight. But anyways, that's a whole nother debate. So far, this book has been really cute. I'm only 68 pages in right now, so I just barely started it, but I'm already really liking the main character and like the way that she, you know, the way the audiobook narrator is narrating this book. It's very interesting, like right away, which I really like. And I'm at the part where she's just now meeting who I assume is going to be the love interest in this book. Oh my gosh, when I was grocery shopping today, I got these white cheddar Cheeto puffs, like Cheeto puffs, but they're white cheddar flavor. I did not know that these were a thing before today, but I saw it in the grocery store and I was like, yes. And then after I went to the grocery store, I went to the gym, and then after the gym, I ate this entire bag on the way home. This shit is fucking so good. It is so good. If you like white cheddar, like anything, you know, like I feel like white cheddar just makes everything better in my opinion, but I'm also a huge Cheetos fan. Like I love Cheetos, Cheeto Puffs, give me all the cheese. These are absolutely incredible. 10 out of 10 would recommend. Oh my God, life-changing. Like I'm actually gonna go back to the store tomorrow just to pick up more bags of these because it was so good. Anyways, I'm gonna get ready to shower real fast because I just got home from the gym, and then we're gonna make dinner and then hopefully read a little bit more later tonight. Trying something new.
Yeah, kinda.
Dear Lord.
It's fine.
We're making fried chicken with not that much oil.
Yes, there is oil, but it's just like not like melted to the ground.
Beautiful. Okay, hello. It's like 10:30 at night, and I don't have that much to update you on because I only read one more chapter and I'm only 96 pages in right now. But I just have to let you know because tonight for dinner, we made these like homemade chicken tender things that, you know, it also had this like garlicky sauce, like garlic parmesan sauce that went on the outside of it. I don't know, Rachel said she found the recipe from a TikTok video, and dinner was so freaking fire tonight. Like it was so good. The chicken was so freaking crispy. Like I don't know, I've never tried, like we've never really tried or attempted to make like homemade chicken tenders before, so that was a cool new experience. And then right after that, I don't know why it took me so long to realize that at my library you can not only rent, you know, the obvious things like books and DVDs and stuff like that, but you can also rent video games. And so, you know, I do have a Nintendo Switch. We haven't been using it that much in the last like couple of months. And so I was like, oh my God, I wonder what games my library has for the Nintendo Switch. So I was looking, and I recently was able to get the Tony Hawk Pro Skater game from, you know, my library for the Nintendo Switch. And I used to love, like, I don't think you guys understand, I used to be obsessed with the Tony Hawk Pro Skater game on PS4 back when we had a PlayStation. That shit was my childhood. Like, I fucking grew up on that game, and that game was like my everything. And so I was so excited that there's actually like a Nintendo Switch version of the game, and like, oh my gosh, we were playing it for hours tonight, like literally for hours, and it was so much fun. And it's so cool because the Nintendo Switch one is like obviously a much more updated one than the one that I grew up playing, and so like the effects are so much better and the challenges are so much harder and like so much more fun, and like I'm just having the time of my life. So that has been going great. I'm obsessed with Tony Hawk. Anyways, I am planning on laying in bed and reading some more of this book, and then hopefully tomorrow morning, I mean, I'm hoping to get maybe like up to halfway through tonight, and then tomorrow morning I am going to be doing some reading sprints with my friend Rachel Hope. She's the one who makes all the amazing book sleeves, and I'm so excited to do some reading sprints with her, so I'm hoping that I can finish this up tomorrow morning.
What if the world had more of your smile? What if the wind could spread your love? What if your sweetness could reach everyone? There'd be no wars. Maybe the birds will sing about your heart. Maybe the trees will whisper the word. Maybe the sun will spread your joy to the ones who lost their hope.
Hello, it is the next afternoon. It's about 3 o'clock in the afternoon right now, and I just got off doing some reading sprints with Rachel and a few other friends that were on there as well, and I just finished listening to Sorry Bro. This book was good. I have mixed feelings about like some of the ending of this book though. I think overall I'm probably gonna give this like a 3.5 out of 5 stars because there were some things that I really loved about this book, but then there were some things that kind of bothered me as far as like the direction of the story and where it ended up going. Really did like the chemistry between these two women in this book, and I thought it was really good. However, I also think it was kind of strange. Like I was looking through other Goodreads reviews to see if anybody else mentioned this because I thought maybe it's just me and like I missed something, but this book, the way that it's written, it's very like like the sex scenes are very like fade to black, almost to the point where it was kind of like confusing. It was like, you know, like it was like they were starting to get together in one scene, and then in the next minute that I was listening, it was like they had already, you know, gotten together and she was talking about how great the sex was, and I was like, wait, like it already happened? Like did I miss something? And I did see a few other reviewers mention how this book is very like closed door, like behind the scenes, but then the way that the writing is, it just made it so confusing for me because they would talk about how great their sex was or whatever, but you never really got to see anything that they were talking about. Like, I don't know, that part was a little bit confusing to me. Like I thought that they literally took the scene out of the audiobook or something, and so I was like trying to follow along physically, and I was like, no, I didn't miss anything. It was just a very interesting writing choice, and I don't know if it's because maybe I've just been reading a lot of romances lately that have like very descriptive sex scenes, but the lack of sex scenes in this book was definitely noticeable for me. I was just kind of like, oh, I think I wanted a little bit more from those scenes, if that makes sense. But also I really loved the Armenian culture in this book, and I don't think that I've ever read a book that features an Armenian character, and just kind of like the discussion about, you know, queer identities and like being a part of the LGBT community as a person that's in the Armenian culture. I really appreciated the discussion about like, you know, the unique struggles that she faces in her community and in her culture because they're a lot less accepting than, you know, other cultures. And also, I know I've talked about this before too, how I do love the exploration of a character's sexuality, you know, a little bit later in life, and like still being able to figure things out about yourself much later on. You know, this character throughout this book, she's kind of navigating her feelings and trying to figure out if she really is attracted to men and women and like how that is for her. And she really goes through a lot with her, you know, identity sexually in this book. And so I just really appreciated all the discussion about that. And I feel like I just really learned a lot in general about Armenian culture because this is, you know, as I said, this is like the first book I've ever read that has an Armenian main character. I just feel like I could have loved this more, but there were some things that happened towards the end of this book that were just, you know, very hurtful. At least like if that were to happen to me, I think I would be really hurt by it. And I don't know, like the way that this main character treats this girl towards like the second half of the book, you know, it's mostly due to like the fear of like she's not ready to come out yet and that kind of conversation. But at the same time, like my heart really hurt for her, and I don't know if I'd be able to like bounce back from something like that the way that she does. Also, I feel like at times the tone of this book was a little bit confusing, you know, because I do do feel like this book starts off on a pretty like lighthearted note, and the way that this book is called Sorry Bro, and it's like, it makes it feel like it's gonna be like a rom-com, you know? And I do think this book does market itself as a romantic comedy, but I do think at times, you know, especially towards like the middle chunk of this book, it gets very heavy and very depressing as you're starting to learn a lot about like Armenians' culture and this genocide that has happened in their history. And while it was interesting to like learn that about their history, because again, like I haven't really, you know, exposed myself to a lot of Armenian culture, so I was not aware of it, but at the same time, it kind of made the book feel so much heavier than the original tone was at the beginning of the book. Like I just think the tone was shifting quite a bit throughout the story. Alright, so that is a wrap on this romance reading vlog. I do think this was a pretty successful reading vlog, because even though I wasn't the biggest fan of the reunion, I mean, I know I pretty much read this almost entirely off camera, so you didn't really see my struggles with this one, but this was the only book that I didn't really enjoy. I definitely found some new favorite romances with Before I Let Go and X's and O's. I think both of these are pretty top tier for me. And then I thought Sorry Bro ended up being a little bit like okay for me at the end. I think I'm gonna give this one somewhere around like a 3 to 3.5 stars. But overall, I'm so glad to be back in like the swing of things with romances, and you'll have to let me know if you've read any of these books. What are your thoughts on them? Do you plan to read any of these? Or what other romance books would you recommend for me to check out? I know shortly after this vlog, I'm going to start working on my Blackathon TBR, and that one also has some romances in that TBR as well. So like, I'm just keeping with this flow of like reading romance lately, and I'm just so happy about it. Also, do not forget to go and check out Ana Luisa and check out their jewelry. Like, look at this, it's gorgeous. Like, I can't stress enough how much I love Ana Luisa's rings. You can use my code gabbyreads20 to get 20% off your order, and you can use that link down below to go and check out Ana Luisa. Thank you so much for watching today. I really appreciate you all for being here so much, and I hope you have an incredible Valentine's Day and an incredible February. Thanks for watching. I'll see you very soon with another video. Bye.